Plaintiff Suing Stretz is here today because she believes the defendants need to take responsibility for their child's actions. Suing claims she got her granddaughter an iPod for Christmas, and a week later, it went missing while she was spending the night at the defendant's house with her friend. Suing is suing because she suspects the defendant's daughter stole the iPod. Defendants James Davis and his wife Cynthia Dubois say Suing has some nerve accusing their daughter of theft when her granddaughter stole their daughter's phone a few months ago. Cynthia says while Suing's granddaughter was at their home, she lost the iPod several times, and they deny that their daughter stole it. They're countersuing for harassment and defamation.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Well, this is about responsibility and taking responsibility for your child's actions. For Christmas, my granddaughter wanted an iPod. I'm an unmarried person. I pay my own bills.
And she wanted a teddy bear also?
Well, she's part of the story. Miss Jessica is part of the story. So I work hard for my money, and she wanted an iPod, so I bought her an iPod Nano for Christmas. The weekend after Christmas, she went and spent the weekend with Whitney. And during that time, apparently her iPod came up missing. I did not know this for a couple months. A couple months later, I go to my daughter's house. I ask my granddaughter, how are you enjoying your iPod? And that's when I'm informed by my daughter that's missing. Now, she knew I would be very angry. I mean, it was the only gift I can get for her. And so she tells me the story that she goes over there. Saturday, they go to the park, take the iPod, comes up missing. They go back to Whitney's house. She finds her iPod underneath Whitney's bed.
No, that's not right.
Underneath
no,
the
that's
hide
not true
of
at
it.
all.
Who told you that, ma'am?
Alexis,
Your
my
granddaughter told you that?
She lost it.
1 second, sir. Go ahead.
And it was found, she found it underneath the hide of bed that Whitney sleeps on when she's over there. Sunday, they're playing. They have an argument. Alexis says she wants to go home. She sets her iPod down on the end table where Whitney is sitting next to. She goes into the bedroom, grabs her backpack, and Miss Jessica, which is a doll that she's had since she was 3 years old, she doesn't go anyplace without it, and Miss Jessica is missing. So she calls her mother hysterical. I mean, her mother's had to take off work to go get it when she's forgotten it at her dad's or some other place. And so she calls her hysterical. My daughter comes over there and she says, you know, I'm not worried about the iPod, but you better find her doll. She can't sleep without it. And they go home, and barely behind is the defendants with Miss Jessica, which they find stuffed in a closet.
Okay. Let me hear from you all.
Well, first of all, the stuffed animal was found in the closet because they were playing with all the stuffed animals in the closet. But
there was more than one stuffed animal?
Oh, yes. They had a whole closet of stuffed animals my daughter has. Okay. So, Christmas vacation, Alexis comes over to spend the night. Okay. A few months prior to this, keep in mind that Alexis actually stole my daughter's cell phone.
A year later, and it was returned.
Several years. This was in the
And we didn't press charges,
Be quiet, ma'am. Be quiet.
It was returned within
3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we
so you admit that your granddaughter stole from them.
Yes.
And you're suing them, alleging that their daughter stole from your granddaughter.
Okay, I do have several evidence that says that she stole my granddaughter's iPod. The phone was returned within hours because Alexis called.
I just wanted to get it clear.
Yes.
2 years later. Your
later.
granddaughter stole from them, and now you're accusing their daughter of stealing from your granddaughter.
Yes, sir.
Good enough. Go ahead.
So, Christmas vacation, she wanted to come stay the weekend. She came over for the weekend. I was not informed that she was going to be bringing a $140 iPod to my home, or maybe I had, maybe kept an eye on it, okay? I don't check all the items that kids bring to my home, because I thought I was responsible for the child, not the items they bring. Okay.
I raised my children. I was responsible for the children that came to my home and their items.
Responsible for the child, not what they bring.
I'm a responsible enough parent to know that a 9-year-old child should not take a $150 toy to another child's house.
But you stated to me that your daughter has a $450 iPod.
That she keeps at her father's house.
Give me the history on the iPod coming up missing and how that was responded to.
The first night that she had the iPod there, she dropped it in the bathtub, took the case off to dry it. And then a couple times during the weekend, they went to the park and the school, and every time she came home, the granddaughter noticed it was missing, so my oldest daughter had to take her down there and retrieve the iPod. They were lucky enough to find it.
Take her back to the park.
To the park and to the school, and they found it every time.
Did you know that to be the case?
That is not true, Your Honor.
They never
She
went-
I have witness
found the
statements.
iPod
Ma'am,
underneath.
did they ever go back to the park to look for the iPod?
Yes, they did.
Did they find the iPod in the park?
No, sir.
Were you
Where
there?
did they find it?
They found it underneath her bed. She found it. She
Okay.
found it underneath Whitney's.
Never found anything at the park.
No, sir.
Can I talk with her?
Sure.
Come on up, young lady. State your name.
Alexis Moon.
All right. Tell me about the iPod. Did you all go back to the park to look for it?
Yes.
Did you find it there?
No.
Where did you find it?
I found it under Whitney's bed in the hide-a-bed.
Did you ask her about it?
Yes.
What did she say?
She said that she didn't know how it got there.
Okay. And then it came up missing again, and how did you find it then?
I found it on the bed.
On top of the bed?
Yes. Because we went in there to play, and then we left the iPod, and I thought that I had it in my pocket.
Okay, but it was on top of the bed in open view? Okay. Go ahead.
I have witness statements from Whitney and my oldest daughter stating that they found it at the park because that's where they went and that's where it was lost.
Yeah, the oldest one had to go and help her find it.
Nonetheless,
Couple times.
she says that it was in open view on the bed. That doesn't sound like someone trying to steal.
Yeah.
So you say they went to the park and they found it at the park. It came up missing again?
Well, this was 2 or 3 times. So when it came time for her to leave Sunday, she called her mother crying because she couldn't find her bear or the iPod on Sunday, okay? So she came to pick her up.
That's a lie.
Mother came to pick her up.
And I found the stuffed bear sitting right by the closet because we don't have closet doors on our thing. And she has tons of stuffed animals and Barbie dolls. And it was sitting right there. So I brought it to her house, and then she came back. I let her search through Whitney's room for the iPod, which I shouldn't have done in the first place, but I was nice enough to do that. We couldn't find it. I believe it was the next week, and I could be wrong, but she brought Alexis over and said, she's here to look for her iPod. Well, that whole time she was there, that hour or 2 hours, all they did was Whitney and her were play.
Let me ask you, young lady, when you saw it on the bed, why didn't you get it?
I did.
And what did you do with it then?
And then we went to play Scrabble, and me and Whitney got in a fight, so I set it down on the end table where Whitney was sitting, and I went to go grab my stuff, and I couldn't find my doll.
Okay. So it came up missing actually 3 times. And how was everything handled after this? Did she come to you?
The mother came to our house several times. Then a couple months later, she came over, the grandma, and talked to us. We were all getting along nice, and she said, "Do you mind if I file a missing report
That's
with the
not
police?"
true.
She
That's
came,
not
she
true.
came out of nowhere. We don't even know how
What
she
month
got.
and year was this?
The end of
But
March,
I believe
beginning of April.
it was April.
Was the report filed?
It was filed
I do
in
have
who
a
has
police
it?
report.
May.
And can anyone tell me anything about the report that might reveal anything?
It says right here that as determined, the iPod was stolen, not lost. The child was charged with 1 count of petty theft.
Let's see
Where
it.
does that say that?
Right there on the top.
I got the same police
Because
report
mine
she
says
does.
that it was determined that they couldn't determine if it was lost or stolen, so it's just routed to file.
Yeah.
If she wasn't being charged with 1 count of petty theft.
And I got something from the juvenile court stating that she wasn't charged and that she doesn't have a record.
No, they're not doing anything about it, but
You see it,
there is
please?
1 charge
But you're
of
saying
petty
they're claiming
theft.
that my daughter was charged with petty theft and you're slandering her. How are you going to say that if it's
Right
not
on
in there?
Police report. They didn't take her to
didn't
court for
prosecute
it.
it.
They didn't prosecute it.
Ma'am, you have to
They-
stand up and ask to speak. Come on up.
That's
You're the
because
mother?
They
I
didn't.
am.
They just
State your
decided
name.
to file
State
it.
your name.
Kimberly
Pardon?
Knight.
What do you want to say?
It wasn't prosecuted because she would have to go further with pressing charges. We were taking it
That's
one
not
step
true
at a
at all.
time. But the courts did find her
with one charge
of petty theft and left it up to her if she wanted to pursue it criminally.
How come I wasn't notified?
We were never notified.
I called you.
No. By some court or somebody, because my child's a minor. I would have received documents in the mail.
She did not press charges. She did not press charges.
And we talked to the prosecutor for the juvenile, and they said it never made it to their office.
When asked if it was possible that Alex lost the iPod, he stated that she had lost it numerous times.
No, that's what they stated.
Well, she said it also, ma'am, 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as if to say that the young thief took it 3 different times.
We do feel that each time that it was lost, it wasn't lost. It was her attention at trying to steal.
Wow.
No. So she's not a good thief.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Well, obviously, yeah, in the end, because it's still missing.
Or maybe your daughter's just irresponsible because she's 9 years old.
And-
It would still be
she
left.
did say, and then she wouldn't have computer, wear glasses.
She was very
Responsible enough, you would take
Her
care of your daughter
grandmother
like you're
stated to
supposed
me.
to.
Her grandmother stated to
And
me
I
that
do.
she is irresponsible.
You don't.
and
We
she
never
doesn't
did
take
that.
the
I
laptop
never
back from
stated
her
that
house.
she was
doing dope.
irresponsible,
You
ever.
don't know me.
Yeah, we
You time
do.
off at school. You have no idea where I'm at
Yeah,
or what
okay.
I'm doing. Ask my
Your daughter doesn't even know where you're at half the time when we go to drop her off, and she can't call you more than
Because
once
I'm at
because you
school.
get pissed
No,
off
you
because
weren't at
she's going to wake
school on
you up.
I'm not
Saturday.
going to argue. Oh, I do have
Exactly.
classes on Saturday. Thank you very much. Last semester, I
Not
sure
at
did.
night, not Saturday
Okay,
night.
but
Not Saturday day. And it wasn't at nighttime that they ever tried
2
to
in the
drop
morning.
her
There's
off.
no class at 2 in the morning, is it?
They never tried
What
to
school
drop
she
her
go
off.
to?
They
what kind of
never
class
ever
is
tried
that?
to drop her
Yeah.
off on a Saturday night. That's why she went over there Saturday afternoon to spend the night.
No, we're talking about just specific
Ma'am,
times in the
that's
past.
enough. You all talk to me. And what type of discussions have you all had with the plaintiff since that time?
She called several times, as it's listed in the police report, and threatened that if we didn't pay for the iPod, that she was going to file a police report. I said, go ahead and file
You're
it.
the one that said file a police report.
Yeah.
You're the one that gave me
You asked-
your information.
I mean,
out of
the
the
press
kindness
charges.
of our hearts, because we didn't do anything wrong, you asked, do you mind if we report the iPod lost?
You're the one that
Ma'am,
suggested it,
why
not
did you
me.
wait 5 months to report it?
Sir, I did not even know about it for several months
Oh,
before.
really?
Because we searched-
she
Be
knew I
quiet,
was
ma'am.
going
You
to
don't
be
sit
angry.
down and talk. You wait and stand up and raise your hand if you'd like to speak. Yes.
The reason why it took so long was because they, on weekends, was
They
the
only
only
get 'em
time
every other
that
weekend.
they get Whitney, and that's
Every
when I
other
had to
weekend.
make arrangements
I
with
can't
them to
understand
bring.
you all are talking at the
Sorry.
same time. Let me go back over to them.
Well, geez,
your counterclaim for defamation is for $1,000 for harassment and defamation. How does she owe you for that?
Well, the harassment is calling us saying that she's going to take us to court and sue us.
That's
you
a
know,
lie.
and then
Never said that.
That's not harassment. That's a promise.
But yet here
How do
we
you
are.
say defamation?
Promise made,
Defamation?
promise kept.
But I would never.
Well, yeah, we're here, huh?
I
We're
wouldn't
here.
tell somebody.
Defamation, she's writing on legal documents that item was stolen by minor child Whitney Harmon. Plus, it's public information now that
and
we
she was never
got
charged.
sued, and she was never sued or never
And I'm sure
charged.
she's going around
If
telling
she was
everybody that my
charged, she
daughter's
just
a
wasn't
thief.
prosecuted.
Well, right down here it says, until further leads develop and it is determined that the iPod was stolen and not lost, I request that this report
Yeah.
be rooted.
Their conclusion is that until they determine that it was stolen or lost, meaning they haven't. They haven't determined whether it was stolen or lost. And you all waited 5 months.
Because
the
we were
police report
searching.
says
Because
that no
she-
conclusion.
Alexis
And
went over there,
defamation, sir,
sever-
defamation, you must prove that it was with reckless disregard for the truth that they made this statement. I believe they thought that your daughter stole it. And I'm going to dismiss both your claims. You all haven't proven it. That's my judgment. Have a good day.
There ain't no friendship. You know, I mean, they can't get along. They can't, they accuse, it's just, no, we don't want her in our
I don't
house
care
no
for their
more.
entire family. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff more there that's not
Yeah, there's
even-
a lot more
Yeah.
stuff in the closet than what was brought out here.
Don't know us, so whatever.